Welcome back to Besties Unscripted. I am Kaylee,
And I am Grace.
and we are so excited to introduce Sarah Atkinson into today's episode. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. We are seriously pumped. So, I think we just want to dive into it and get to the introduction of how you went through this major transformation, this major lifestyle change. Um, First, going with what was, if so, a pivotal moment of the change, and what made you want to lose your weight and go kind of 0 to 100, I feel like.
I think my journey really started when I came off birth control. So I had been on birth control for a really, really long time, and I didn't realize how it was affecting my body and how much harder it made weight loss. My hormones were obviously very affected by it. And I had struggled. I had tried to lose weight many, many times, and I would maybe lose a little bit, but I was working really, really hard to do it. And it just seemed like I was fighting an uphill battle. And I just thought that that was my body. I thought that that was my normal. And I came off birth control because I went to get it and I was on the depot shot. And I had borderline high blood pressure, probably because my weight was high and I was pretty out of shape. And they wouldn't give it to me. So at that moment, I decided, you know what? I am just going to come off of it. So I am going to transition off of birth control. And after transitioning off of birth control, it took a little while for my body to start to get to normal. But I lost 15 pounds without changing anything. So I lost 15 pounds without changing my diet, without changing my workout routine. And at that moment, it kind of clicked that I can do this now. So at that point, I started dieting and working towards taking off more weight. And there were many different parts of that journey where there were other pivotal moments where things shifted. But I think that was the real turning point for me. And also that's something that has flagged us in our business about how important hormone health is and making sure your hormones are where they need to be, because it really can affect so many different things: appetite, weight. I felt like I was a whole different person and I didn't realize it because it had become my new normal. So I would say is the biggest turning point in when my journey started.
And for the women who are on birth control and don't understand kind of how that affects them, how could you put it, into when you're maybe speaking to your clients into terms of what is birth control doing for us if we are having issues losing weight?
Yes. So anytime our hormones are obviously most birth control is hormonal. So when we have clients that really, really want to stay on birth control, we recommend either a very low dose hormone birth control or there's like copper IUDs. Now, I've seen other studies come out about those where there's some problems with those as well. But any kind of form of birth control you can do that's lowest hormone. So anytime we affect our hormones or throw anything out of whack, it's going to affect your hunger levels. I work with a lot of women who are in menopause, and this is similar. It's a different kind of hormone imbalance, but they start to struggle to lose weight because anytime our hormone levels, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone are not level and where they need to be so once we get them tested, we have our ranges where at different ages we're supposed to be. And if those are out of range, it's going to throw off so many different things in our bodies, including our ability to lose weight, our stress, all kinds of things. So, I am not somebody who's great with all the science of the hormone stuff. Adam would be way better at addressing like the actual specifics of which hormones help with what and like how those imbalances can affect us. I just know from personal experience, I would not like to mess with my hormones again. And
No.
I definitely know that the value in having your hormones balanced. So I went through all of this and never had my hormones actually tested until right before I started prep. So we just know they were off.
Yeah.
We don't know how bad they were. Obviously, I think they were really, really skewed. But I had my hormones tested right before I started prep. I had been off of birth control at that point for like 6 years. So at that point, my hormones, I got them tested. They were all in very normal levels, healthy ranges, good. And so it was very comforting to know that I was going into prep without having any kind of hormone imbalance, and that I was healthy, and that made me feel just at ease knowing that I could start a prep and at least be starting it in a really good healthy spot. I know at the end of prep sometimes our hormones do get a little off based on such low levels of body fat, but um yes, so that's, I would say, specifically, I like when I tell clients, I mean, it can just affect so many things.
Yeah.
And one of the things I didn't realize was just like cravings. So when I came off of birth control, I didn't crave the same kind of like quote unquote bad foods or comfort foods that I did when I was on birth control. Like when I was on birth control, all I wanted was like mac and cheese, carbs, pizza. And like, yes, I still have cravings for those things, but it's not like this constant craving for them. Like I was
Right.
constantly craving those things and craving that full feeling from those like comfort foods. So I think definitely still, obviously, we all have cravings,
Yeah.
but they're not anything like they were before.
I think you just hit such a nail on the head, Sarah, with like explaining a problem that so many women, myself included, have felt when it comes to weight loss when you're just working so hard. And there's a lot of narratives I think that play out where it's like, yeah, well, you just get older and it's just harder for your body. Like this is just the way it is. And although there is truth to that to an extent, I just feel like we as women are often misled and not understanding the full picture of our health to realize, like you said, you got off birth control and I think you said 15 pounds by not changing your lifestyle. Like, what a confidence boost for someone that's like struggling to be like, oh shit, like I got this. Like I can get down to the body size that makes me feel my most confident and best. I think that's so empowering.
It really
Yeah.
is. And it goes to show like you're fighting your body at some point, and that's why it's so important to get our blood work. Okay, so I did want to talk. You lost, and correct me if I'm wrong, whenever we're going into powerlifting, 125 pounds, and then you
Yes.
started
So
powerlifting.
no, I was powerlifting when I was heavy.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
So
So, my total weight loss to get on stage by the time I got lean enough to get on stage was 125 pounds. So I started my journey at the highest I ever weighed myself. And I honestly didn't weigh myself that often when I was heavier. So it could have been a little more, but the highest I remember stepping on the scale was 273. So when I stepped on stage for bodybuilding, I was actually 150, but I got down to 147 before that. So that was 125 pounds down.
that
But I
is
did
Wow.
start,
incredible.
so I was powerlifting when I was heavy. So my records and stuff I set were all when I was, most of the time I was powerlifting, I was between 245 and 260.
Okay, so what was the deciding factor to shift kind of into bodybuilding and, as they are judging our physiques and how we are looking and coming from someone who worked their fucking ass off to get down to over 125 pounds. I'm going to say over because I feel like for sure. Um,
Yeah.
how was that like shift in mindset and transition? You're like, I'm getting on stage, I'm going to do it. What was the mindset shift like for you?
So that was a really long phase to get there.
Mhm.
So I've always been a lifter. Obviously, I lifted when I was heavy. I actually started lifting when I was in college, when I was about 20 years old. So I have always been somebody who loved to lift, hit the gym hard. I love lifting heavy weights, obviously being a power lifter. And so eventually, after powerlifting for a long time, as you get older, it gets really hard on your joints. Hitting one rep maxes was like, it was hard on the body, and I felt like lifting is supposed to make you feel good, not feel bad, and it's like going up the stairs hurts, everything hurt, and I was injuring myself regularly, pulled several muscles in my back, hurt my knee, hurt my shoulder. It was a lot. And so, Adam coaches bodybuilders, and I was like, I'm going to lift more like a bodybuilder. So I transitioned to that style of lifting with no goal to step on stage. I just liked the style of lifting better. It was easier on my body. It's a lot more variation when you're powerlifting. You're doing 3 lifts all the time, couple accessories. Every day is a squat day. So I was like getting bored too with powerlifting movements. And so I transitioned to lifting like a bodybuilder. And I continued to, lose weight through this process. And everyone just started asking me when I started to get leaner, when are you going to compete? And I was like, never.
Mhm.
I am never going to compete. And that was what I said for a really, really long time. And then I hit 100 pounds down, and the idea started to, maybe I can do this. And so I actually kind of started working towards that goal silently without telling anybody. Because if I told people, people were going to expect me to do it. And if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. So I was not going to put it out there. This was still like, I might do this, but it was in my mind that I might do this. And so I started working towards that goal probably, I don't know, it was maybe like a year and a half before I got on stage. And continued dieting down because I had to lose some more weight, obviously. And it was and at that point it started to look like my body was starting to look like I was going to compete. And so I was getting tons and tons of questions. And I kind of let the people right around me know. I was like, I am planning on doing this. I started prep in January of last year, and I didn't tell people, I think, until March that I was actually going to do it. I announced it online. And at that point, I was like, I can't back out.
Mhm.
No matter what happens, I have to do this. So that to me was a really challenging moment because I still didn't know what my skin was going to look like. None of us know the first time we cut down for a bodybuilding show what we're going to look like.
Mhm.
But for me, I knew skin was going to be an issue, and I didn't know how bad it was going to be. But at that point, I decided that I would rather step on stage and inspire other people that have had massive weight losses that or want to lose a massive amount of weight, that they can do this, and like nothing, they can accomplish anything they want to accomplish. And the skin thing was a big, huge issue and
Mhm.
part of my prep. And there were tears, and it was hard. But I was like, you know what? The the hard work that I have done and what I have to show, I just hope outshines my loose skin. And also, I had a lot of people encouraging me and great support. And they said, everybody's going to be looking at your muscles, not your loose skin. Um, and I would like to think that, but my loose skin can be kind of glaring, especially in the back of my legs. And I, I, I also agree. One of the things that would probably hurt my physique is one of the things that showed just how hard I worked.
Mhm.
So, um, I decided to do it, and I'm really glad I did. I'm happy that I committed to doing it and did it, and I'll probably do it again.
Yay! That was gonna be my next question.
Yes.
I love what a good commentary that was on just like setting a goal and keeping it private until you were ready to like fully commit to it. Kaylee and I talk a lot about goal setting on the podcast. And I just think that is such a great call out for anyone listening. Like, really lean into the practice of something before you share with the world, and then let that hold you accountable for you to do it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's so inspiring. And I'm curious, like, after stepping on stage, when you had this kind of like fear or anxiety around like how your body would be perceived, did you walk away feeling like a rush of confidence, or how did you feel in your body after that?
I would say there's mixed feelings on it for me. I Honestly, my show experience with the other people I competed with were amazing. The figure girls were like such sweethearts. Most of them, it's kind of like a mini national show. It's a show that people do to qualify for nationals and go on to nationals. Sandy judges it. Everybody wants to get in front of Sandy. Um, so it was not a great pick for a first show.
It was
It was a very
huge.
challenging show. But the girls that I competed with were incredible athletes. One of them got her pro card like 3 weeks later. Awesome girls. And they were so kind and loving. Like I was kind of like, I was kind of the underdog, like I was coming in my first show, I had lost a ton of weight and they were just like embraced me and loved me. And like people were coming up to me and be like, I heard your story. It's so incredible. Like you so inspire me. You look amazing. And like, so even though I did not place well, it was an awesome experience. I felt like, I had such great support. We had like 8 people from our team do the show. It was just a really, really fun experience. Um, I did feel incredible about what I was able to take my body to that level. Sometimes I look back at pictures and I'm like, that was me. Like, I cannot believe it.
It's
I'm like,
crazy.
what?
It's crazy, like, the goggles we get on, like, when we're, like, deep and shredded, we're like, "Oh, I need to get leaner," and then you look back, like, way post-show, and you're like, "What the hell was like, damn,
Yeah.
I look so good."
I was convinced I wasn't lean enough, and everybody at the gym was like, girl, you are lean.
It's the prep
Um,
goggles.
It's total prep goggles. So I that part of the experience was fantastic. I have said this before to other people. I will be completely 100% honest with how I feel the experience of competing is. And I said one of the things that's hard about competing is that if I was able to achieve that physique and not be competing, I would have just been like, damn, I look great. I am incredible. Look what I did. I'm a badass.
Mhm,
But because I was competing, I picked myself apart. I was never good enough. I was never lean enough. I didn't have big enough quads. I had the loose skin. I had a little bit of loose skin on my tummy that I didn't like. So it was this constant like, I'm never good enough. And I think that mentality is so difficult about competing because I, if I was doing this without competing, I would just think I looked amazing.
mhm.
But since I was competing, I definitely had those like self doubt, like criticizing myself. But also, I would never have attained that physique had I not been competing. So it's kind of a double edged sword. So, like, would I ever get that lean if I didn't commit to doing a show? Absolutely not. So,
I
um, yeah.
I get you 100%. So, okay, I have a question. What would you tell a client or a friend who maybe it's their first time competing, they do struggle with loose skin and maybe confidence in their stage presence and all the thing, or even thinking back to you in that moment? What is something that you would have told yourself or your bestie?
So I think that posing is going to be something that's really important for people with loose skin. Get a good posing coach. Get somebody who is that you really trust, who's going to understand what your issues are. Because my posing came down to hiding loose skin, doing things that made me feel confident while I was on stage. Anything that we did that we would put my arms in certain places to like hide little things. So, my entire posing routine came down to hiding loose skin, which is almost unfortunate because your posing should be highlighting your best features, not hiding your worst. But it is a little bit of both. We have to, it's all about how you look on the I always say it's kind of smoking mirrors on stage at a
Mhm,
bodybuilding show. So, my posing coach knew that like the confidence level was not going to be there if I felt, bad about certain poses. Um, so I would say get a really good posing coach that understands your issues and can work with you on those. And then I would also say, just think about where you came from, like you might have this little bit of loose skin, but we see our flaws more than anybody else does. Like nobody else is looking for your loose skin. When you see pictures and videos, you're looking for it. And that's why it stands out and is glaring. Everybody else is looking at your full physique. Um, so right before I competed, it was maybe like 2 months before I competed. And I'm thinking about competing. And I went to a show here in Vegas and I watched the figure class that would be my figure class. So 40 masters figure. And I looked at the girls who were on stage and I have never looked for loose skin before, but because I was getting ready to do it, I was like, I'm going to look and see. And when I looked at this, it was a lineup of like 8 girls and 7 of the 8 had loose skin. And so I had never noticed it before. And I guarantee at every other show, there were a lot of women up there with
mhm.
loose skin. I wasn't looking for it though. And everybody else in the audience is not looking for it either. So I would tell people, we are only seeing it in ourselves. Other people are probably not even noticing it. They're looking at your delts, your back, your shape, your overall V taper, those kinds of things. So, yeah, we're just hard on
We
ourselves.
are.
Yeah, as an audience member, I am like just in awe of everyone's body. I'm just like, wow, so can attest to that. And I think that thank you for being honest and vulnerable about just that experience emotionally and just kind of like the ups and downs of it. I think it's really interesting in weight loss how you do go through kind of a high of like getting the weight off and feeling really confident in your body, and then like being thrown into a competitive environment where part of that is being critical, but to a healthy extent, obviously. Like, how do you stay grounded? How do you hold yourself accountable and like your emotions and your mental health? Like, what are kind of techniques that you've used that have helped you along the way?
Yeah. So the gym is of one of my huge stress relievers. It's my happy place. Um, I love like lifting. So the gym is definitely a huge help with I feel like stress and mood stabilizing.
Hmm.
I am also somebody who while bodybuilding is very extreme, the diet part, I am somebody who is all about balance. I think, with all things in life, balance is the best. So I am somebody who probably other people would look at like the way I diet and and be like, "You're not serious." But I'm like, bodybuilding's a hobby for me. And
Hmm.
so the rest of the time I'm like, I do have a glass of wine here and there. That's a nice stress reliever. Going out to dinner with my husband is something we enjoy. And if I have to give all of that up for bodybuilding, I don't want to do it. And I at the very end, of course, you have to give all that up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, most people have to give all that up at the very end, and I did. But for the rest of the year, like I live a very balanced life. And then other things. So I would say those things are things I do for my mental health, though. Other people might not see it that way, but enjoying treats and wine on occasion and going out to dinner with my husband, those are all things that I think keep me mentally sane.
Yeah.
A margarita a week is the therapy for my relationship. Okay. We solve everything over a little tequila. It all works
No,
out.
I mean, that meme that says, I've never seen somebody sad with chips or chipsing queso and a margarita. I'm like 100%.
100%. And they're in
Yes.
Vegas too, Grace. So like y'all probably have so many good
Good food.
options.
Yeah.
I will say, deciding to prep while I lived in Vegas, I was like, I am insane. It is such a foodie place. Oh my gosh. Like, and everybody comes here and wants to like go out, and we have people coming in town all the time. And I'm like, oh, this is so hard.
You're like, I'll be
Yeah. It's
home.
But
hard
I'm
to be a
short
host.
term,
Yeah.
short
Short
term.
term. I feel that. I feel that. Um, okay, so I wanted to transition into food where we're already here. How do you kind of navigate, okay, post show, strict diet, and then getting to I get to enjoy myself again?
So I talked a big game. I like
I've been there.
I was like, I am gonna nail this reverse. I have seen so many people mess it up. I'm gonna be about it. I'm gonna be on it. I'm gonna like have like one cheat meal a week, but I'm gonna like be on my food that I always eat. I'm gonna be so good. Lies, complete and utter lies. I lied to myself. I lied to everyone else. This did not happen. I was
I feel
like,
this so much. I'm like, this is so easy.
I feel so bad because I've told so many people how important the reverse is and nailing that reverse and not going overboard. And I did not do any of those things. Easier said than done,
Hmm. Hmm.
So I feel like post show, I had my good times where there'd be a phase where I was like, I'm good, I'm doing good, I'm eating my like tracked meals and I'm actually tracking macros. And then I would just like go off the rails. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
so it didn't go quite as planned. I wouldn't recommend going off the rails, obviously. But
We don't recommend that,
I
but
will
sometimes.
I feel like most competitors have done it a couple
Yeah.
times, but usually the first show, people, it's like when that happens. So I'm right there with them. Um, uh, I will say though, I just felt like I kind of needed to get it out of my system.
Mhm.
Like the prep was so hard and so like I was like I needed to get out of my system for like 4 months. It
Mhm.
was like I was pretty bad for a while. Summer is the time I refuse to prep during summer. So that's why I competed June 1st so that I could like roll in to have a fun summer. My birthday's in August. I had family in town for that. It was just something all the time over summer. And this is funny. I was working on our taxes the other day and going through all of our credit card statements. And we went from like no meals out, like I could just going down the list of credit card transactions looking for business stuff. And it's like no meals out, no meals out. And then you can tell exactly when my show happens because it's like restaurant, 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 restaurant.
Oh my God, this is therapy for me. I'm like, same. That same freaking thing happened to me. And then you just beat yourself up so bad post show. Your hormones are fucked. Your cravings are skyrocket. And you really need time, like, for everything to come back to normal. But you're like, but no, I need a burger and lasagna. And oh my God, I have to go do this. And I need margaritas. And then you beat yourself
All the
up.
things.
It's a total, it really is a mind fuck. It's a whole nother kind of prep, that post show, that yeah,
I would say it's almost harder,
yeah,
like
yeah.
sticking the mental part of it too, because you like you're gaining weight and you're so like you're kind of hating your body because
Mhm,
you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gaining too much too fast, and you're like stressed. You eat and then you're like stressed about it. So I was like, this is like like I'm not even like I'm enjoying it like in the moment kind
mhm,
of, but
mhm.
then afterwards I'm so stressed about it. Then I'm stressed about the weight that I've gained and like and yeah, so it was a real mental like challenge for sure. I feel like I'm in a really good mental place now. It took a while. I will say I still have some body image issues for sure. I've gained 30 pounds since my show, um, which originally that was not my goal. My goal was like 15 to 20. So I went over that by a bit. But then realistically, um, I think my goal was a little unrealistic to stay within 15 pounds. 15 was definitely unrealistic for me. I stepped on stage at 150 pounds and I'm 5'7". I'm a
Mm,
bigger person. So, you know, Adam was like 30 pounds for somebody your size is not bad. He was like, do not beat yourself up over 30 pounds. He was like, could you have done it a little cleaner than you did? Yeah.
No,
no.
I actually couldn't have. No, I couldn't.
no. This was my best. We're celebrating that. Sorry.
We are where we are.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, but like I would say the mental part of the gaining the weight, even if I had done it clean, I think the mental part of gaining weight is tough, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, how do you guys like encourage, because I'm sure even just with like other competitors or anyone like listening who just is on their weight loss journey and maybe they're like not getting into a show, but like within that there are ebbs and flows and
Mhm,
like you can get really lean and be like, damn, I look amazing. And then maybe summer comes and it's like, hey, I had all these experiences that, allowed me to put a little more love on my body. Like, yeah, how do you guys learn to love every stage of your body regardless of like where you're at? Because that's a mind fuck from my perspective of how it's sounding. It's like a lot to like mental gymnastics,
mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
I think it's really, really hard, and I'm still working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Right. And in the same, I will say, I'm like, it could, one day I will think I look great, and the next day I think I look terrible. And it can happen within the same day. Like, I will catch an image, like, see myself in a reflection and be like, oh my God, I look terrible.
Mhm,
And then later that day or earlier in the day, I was like, oh, look, my muscles are popping, you
mhm.
know, like,
Yeah.
so it is still a big challenge. I think I'm getting better with it. Uh, I just recently went to a family wedding and I honestly called my parents right before the wedding because I had seen a picture of me in a bathing suit recently. I went on the Angels bikini cruise. And I saw a picture of me in a bathing suit. I actually posted it because I was like, you know what? Other people need to see that bodybuilders are not lean
Mhm.
all year round.
Mhm.
And this is part of bodybuilding. So I posted it no matter how, like, I almost cried when I saw it. And then I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to take this and I'm going to let other people see that this is, it's, we can't stay super lean all the time. So I posted it. It was very cringy for me. But I did it because I'm like, I want to be somebody who's realistic about what bodybuilding is
Mhm.
and the type of bodies that are maintainable and like what the off season looks like. Um, and then I had somebody post something nasty on it, and I called my parents crying. Um, yeah.
We're
I
gonna
Um,
go
will
fight
find
him.
that person.
right. I had
With
like
this.
60 positive comments, almost all from women, who were like, I feel this so much. Thank you for sharing this. People don't talk about this enough. And then I had one dude who I didn't know who was on private say something nasty. Of course, that one comment is the one I'm like,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, it
knife to
hurts.
the chest. So I called my parents crying and I was like, I don't even want to go to this wedding because everybody saw me like compete. They didn't actually come to see me, but they saw the pictures and stuff. And I was like, my whole family is just going to think I'm fat now.
Yeah, it's
And I know how
hard.
crazy
I
this sounds
n
because
Oh,
no, it does like, I completely understand you, completely.
I'm like, they're all going to expect me to like be lean and look
Mhm.
ripped. And so I was going home for this wedding, and my parents were like, they were like, oh, honey. But they, like, inside, they're like laughing at me, like, you are crazy. And then my cousin, who's my best friend, when I got there, I was telling her about this, and she's like, you got bodybuilder brain.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
she's like, girl, you look great. Like, and everybody in the family told me how great I looked. And I, like, inside I'm like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? I do not look great. But yeah, I feel like once you compete, you stop seeing yourself like the rest of the world sees you. You're
Mhm.
constantly comparing yourself to your stage leanness, other people's leanness. And I think it becomes something that we have to stop and like look around us and be like be kind to ourselves because
Yeah.
we're still in great shape. We're just not that lean. I'm stronger than I was when I stepped on stage. Like, I'm
Mhm.
in really good shape. I feel better, that's for sure. Um,
thank
but
Yeah.
I think we just have to be kind to ourselves and know that this is part of the journey. And to normal society, they probably think we look better.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like,
well,
100%, 100%.
well, and also thank you for posting that in
Yeah.
general, because as someone, like, I'm on social media and I feel like I see, and this is not for the bodybuilding world, but like in general, I see the Instagram fitness model who is like 5'10", 120 pounds, just like that tiny perfect silhouette. It's like I am, as just a woman and a human, like I'm dying to see more people like me
Mhm.
that inspire me and can like remind me that like every body looks different at its best.
Mhm.
And yeah, I fuck that guy,
Yeah, fuck
but
that guy.
thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think bodybuilding, of course, it's just such an extreme sport, and giving ourselves grace, like, post-show to just go have the meal and understands, like, our body's, like, in fight or flight, like, "Bitch, I'm so lean, what the hell do you want me to do with this? And I'm going to be holding on to all of this, we're so sensitive." We've also been through a lot of, mental when I lost all my weight, it was for my bodybuilding show, and I meditated every single day. I journaled every single day. Like, I had to be grounded. Otherwise, I was going to be like self-destructive. And
Mhm.
yeah, bodybuilding, for anyone listening, it's extreme, but we love it so much. It's a bipolar thing, guys. But I would say for lifestyle, you're enjoying your summer, you're enjoying events with friends and family, and it's okay to have the cake. It's okay to have the cookies. Like, it's all about just getting back on it and reminding yourself,
Mhm.
like, don't get caught in that wheel like I have post show of just going and kind of self-destructing, and then I'll eat because I'm stressed. And it was more so I needed my mind to grow, my mental health to grow versus really anything with my body, right? So I think it's really just checking
yeah.
in. It's checking in with yourself, understanding your body is kind of out of whack, in lifestyle and bodybuilding. So yeah, I mean, I get you, girl, 100%. 100%. Um,
I think one thing too that I think was kind of self-destructive about post show was that I would go on these like I would always like say I was going to be 100% on Monday.
mhm,
And so, and I've seen so many people do that with just regular dieting too. And then you go off the rails so hardcore because you're like, this gets serious on Monday.
mm,
Whereas if I had just like laid back and relaxed a little bit and was like, you know what, I'm going to eat till I'm full. I'm going to eat healthy foods,
mhm,
like till I'm satisfied. I probably wouldn't have put on so much weight, but it was like this constant, like, oh, like I have to get super serious on Monday again. And so then it was like the weekend turned into this like shit show of
mhm.
all things everything.
Yeah.
So
It's that all
yeah,
or nothing mindset that a lot of us have, and you just
yeah.
checking, like, am I being 0 to 100 right now? Like, checking in with yourself. All or nothing mindset kills us. It really does.
Yeah, because then, like, basically before
We would
Christmas,
know.
I was just doing like I wasn't tracking anything. I was just eating kind of intuitively and, still enjoying meals out. But I didn't have them. I had decided that, I wasn't gonna like start anything. I wasn't gonna start tracking till I got back from this family wedding, which was just recently.
Mhm,
So I had months to just kind of like eat what I wanted, enjoy life, try to eat healthy things that were good for me, high protein, but like, stop when I'm full. Like so basically I ate intuitively for a couple months,
yep,
and because there wasn't this like it starts Monday, I honestly maintained my weight for 2 months.
yeah.
So
It's
I
all
would say that whole
mindset.
like yeah.
It really is. We beat ourselves up and we feel guilty, and then we sometimes continue on that path because we're not loving ourselves, right? It's
Yeah.
crazy. Okay, so I know so Sarah's also a coach, as y'all know. What is one advice you give a woman like when they are starting their fitness journey? Starting with you.
Oh, I have so many things. Let me think of like the most important thing.
Okay, love.
Um, I would say balance. Do not try to achieve. So my very, very favorite thing, and my dad used to say this all the time, is do not let perfect be the enemy of good. So when you are trying to be perfect, you are going to let yourself down. You're going to feel like a failure. So sometimes good is good enough, and so like I have some clients that are just like, if they don't nail everything to a T, they're like, I failed this week, or I went out to dinner and I wasn't able to track it. And then they tell me what they had. And I'm like, that's not bad. Like, just think if you weren't trying at all, like what your week would have looked like.
Mhm.
So I like to tell people, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. We're not going for perfection because if you're in this for the long term, if you're trying to achieve perfection, you're going to burn out. So just, sometimes we got to just estimate what we're eating. Sometimes we got to make the best choice we can if we're out and about. And we all mess up, and the key is to get back on track.
Yeah, I love that.
So I would say that's my biggest tip. And I think my clients kind of love to hear me say that because they think that when they check in that I'm expecting perfection. And
Mhm.
I'm like, no, I was on an 8-year weight loss journey. Do you think I was perfect for 8 years? Hell
Yeah,
no.
just keep going. Keep freaking
Yeah.
going. Um, Grace is super excited about this, so I have to touch on it. She does not understand the new fit technology. I've been doing
Okay.
it on my glutes for several months actually. So I know the feels of it. But
Mhm.
so do you train one-on-one with clients and you use this? Okay, can you
Yes.
explain just for the newbies of this what it is, what it does?
Yes. So I will try to put it in terms like there's super scientific terms, but nobody wants to hear that. They want to hear like what it does
Yeah.
in like normal people's terms. So I'll just explain it like that. So basically, the only time I'm going to use the scientific terms is to tell you what the name is. It's a neuroelectric biostimulation device. So what that means is basically you have these pads and it's hooked up to a machine. You put the pads on the muscle you want to stimulate. So it's very direct, which I think is one of the keys of it. So wherever you put the pads is what muscle is being stimulated directly. So it's one of the better ways to describe it is a lot of people are familiar with a TENS unit. Those are used for physical therapy. So a TENS unit is alternating current, and the newbie is direct current, which What that means is with the direct current, you can actually lift weights while it's on. So if you're using a TENS unit for physical therapy, you are just sitting there and having the muscle stimulated or whatever the issue is. And when you're using the newbie, since it's direct current, it works with your muscle. You can actually lift weights while doing it. So when you're doing that, it basically forces the muscle to contract more fully. It is a more intense lift. So the benefits of it are you can lift less weight in less time and get a more intense workout. Like, who doesn't want that? So
Ah,
it's so amazing for bodybuilding too, because when you have a lagging muscle group, sometimes it can be really hard to bring that specific muscle group up without growing other things. So one of my best examples is if a lot of girls are trying to grow their glutes, obviously. They don't want to grow their quads though. For example, if you're in bikini. So if I put the pads directly on your glutes, you can get a more intense glute directed workout and you're not going to use your quads near as much because we're using lighter weight and it's forcing those muscles to contract more fully and direct. So basically, like if I do a glute workout with it, normally I lift really heavy. So on a glute day, my quads are probably going to get some work. My lower back's going to be sore. I'm going to feel it in my hamstrings. If I use the newbie, I am super sore, but just in my glutes. So I think this, like the super specific ability to target one muscle group in a lift is amazing. And it's also great if somebody has an injury. For example, I trained a bikini pro who had a torn hamstring. So she couldn't lift very heavy. And I was able to put it on her glutes, only use like 30 pounds and still get her a super intense workout on her glutes. Does that make sense?
it does. That's very, very cool how technology has allowed
know.
us to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm jealous because that's always like when you mentioned like gaining or working on your glutes but not wanting your quads to be as activated. I'm like, story of my life.
Same girl. It's like, that's why I could never do bikini.
Literally,
I'm
she
like,
just got those Clydesdale pony legs, you know, she is built.
It's great
But
though.
yeah, that's really, really cool. We would love for you to tell our besties and our audience, you know, where they can find you, what you've been up to, kind of where they can work with you. Could you give us some more information on that?
absolutely. So the best way to find me is probably our website. It's just seeyouLaterLeaner.com. Also, Instagram is a great place to kind of see what I'm up to. And you can also contact me through there. My Instagram is Mrs. So MRS, See You Later Leaner. Um, and other than that, Adam and I have been working a lot on our YouTube. So I've been working a lot on his stuff, but stay tuned because there will be more Mrs. See You Later Leaner stuff coming. I am hoping to start a podcast called My 100-Pound Weight Loss, where I interview people that have also lost 100 pounds. And we just talk about how they did it, why they did it, the challenges, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly, what their current goals are, those kinds of things. Because, and I'm hoping to do that with people who've lost weight all different kinds of ways. So it's not just my way or no way. So I am excited to launch that. It's been something I've been talking about for like 3 years now. But I think now that we're kind of getting our YouTube stuff all like a little more streamlined. So that should be coming soon. And that will be one of the playlists on Adam's channel. So the See You Later Leaner channel. So that's exciting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm super excited about that.
Yeah,
So
thank you so much. And we definitely will share all of this on our show notes so everyone can know where to go find Sarah. Thank you for sharing your story. It is incredibly beautiful just to see a transformation and for you to be such an encouragement to all different types of women who are either interested in bodybuilding or just like being and feeling their personal best. So thank you so much for coming on the show and for sharing with our besties. It's been so much fun chatting with you. And we look forward to supporting you on your podcast journey as well.
thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you next week. Bye.